What is up, everybody? ZTV, Zunigaistheman, Zunigaistheman, whatever. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just came across this one on Facebook, and before I continue, happy holidays, everybody. No, I haven't posted a little video in a while, so here's to make up for it. So I was just going through an ad on Facebook, and I saw something that caught my attention. 40 plus questions raised by Nickelodeon shows that there's no real answer to. Now, I figured this would be a good one for me to cover because I grew up as a Nickelodeon kid back during the 90s. So why not? So let's see what they've got. Let's see. Was this in the contract? Well, celebrities seemed to take getting slimed in good humor. You have to wonder how many of these are actually greatly upset by it. To sign a contract, they said to be slimed. Well, that is a good question. But then again, I don't know. Did anybody ever have to sign a contract where they pretty much agreed to get slimed and everything? I mean, you saw it all the time with Slime Time Live. Back when that was happening during the day, like, everybody just slime all over them in the audience and all that other stuff. So, I think that's hard to say. I mean, that would be one weird contract. I hereby agree to get covered in green goo. So who knows? What's in the Eldritch Horror? Cat Dog was a weird show, duh. Can't help wonder how the board meeting went when the idea of a conjoined cat dog, and Ted no less, put forward. The dynamic duo raises so many questions. How did they get like that? Were they born that way? How do they go to the bathroom? Show itself very good job explaining these things. Granted, the answer is only being, yeah, whatever. Yeah, what in the Eldritch Horror? It's like the thing is, though, I think the mystery still goes along. It's like, we don't even know who their parents are in terms of biological. Like, we don't know if they were made in some kind of lab or anything because that never got solved during the series. We found out who their adopted parents were. I mean, like, you had that big Yeti female monster and a freaking frog, but that was about it. Hi-ho, diggity. Let's see. Blinded by the light. The urinal had a ceiling, 100% skylight. What about the sun? Saying clear as day, it's extremely hot and extremely bright in there. In the room had Mercy the Sun. Well, it's like, doesn't he have... It's like, didn't he have some kind of feature? Because I know he had a remote to access certain things in his room. Didn't he have a button where he could cover it up with a tarp or something? Almost like what you see with a... Almost like a cover that you see with the skylight or moonlight or whatever in a car? Like, didn't he have that? Or am I just remembering things? I mean, plus you also got to remember, he's in the attic, so of course warm air rises. It's going to be warmer northern part towards the ceiling or the roof compared to down on the floor. That's why it's always freezing like in a basement. The School Survival Almanac. Okay. This classified school survival guide was a great show. Despite being a comedy, for the most part, it really did have some great advice to offer kids. Yeah, true. Let's see, why didn't we ever get any legitimate books with these tips? Annual ones, even, like an almanac. I remember even trying this when I was watching the show. I would try to document, like, saying, oh, tip number was this, to write everything down to see what tips were being given. Like, I couldn't even get all that written down. And hold on. Well, apparently Nick thought the show was worth one book, and all those tips in 2006. Never felt the need to make another one or add new advice to them. Well, it's like, somebody might have to work on that, like make a whole blog post saying like what every tip was, because you'd have to go through so many episodes. I mean, I got all the episodes on my hard drive in case I want to rewatch the show, but it's like I can't even keep track of all those tips saying, tip number 1, don't wear the fluffy coat. Tip number 2, be careful of your hair. Tip number 69, don't do it in the bathroom. Do it from the start. Oh, talking about the Nick Hotel. Was it any good? It failed just because it couldn't possibly compete with the Disney money. Who knows? Like, I keep forgetting that they even had hotel. Like, I do remember... Like, one thing I remember involving Nickelodeon is if you've ever been to Mall of America, their main centerpiece in the middle of the mall is like a Nickelodeon-themed theme park. That used to be Knott's Camp Snoopy, so like it used to be a Peanuts theme before it suddenly became Nickelodeon beforehand. Because I remember seeing it back when I used to go to that mall back in the day. And like, you even look at this hotel, you got like Blue from Blue's Clues, Dora the Explorer, Little Bill, not sure. Was that one in the far... Oh, that's Boots the Monkey there. You got Stimpy. I think you got Tiny Pickles right here, and then there I can't even tell, but who knows? I mean, like, I don't even know if they've still got it in even the Nickelodeon theme one in the Mall of America. Because again, I haven't checked there in a while, but like, it wouldn't surprise me if they still do. Who knew? Less mystery, more of rare bit of trivia that few people know about, even Nickelodeon fans. Think you remember the actual movie for Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius? Believe it or not, that movie was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Feature Film. I think I remember the movie. Although I have more of a memory of the TV show of all things. Ultimately lost out to Shrek. Shrek is pretty awesome, yeah. His knowledge, yeah, I never knew it was even nominated for anything. I mean, it was a pretty good precursor to the animated series. Oh, My Life as a Teenage Robot. Sorry, yeah, my life. Fan favorite show from Nickelodeon was My Life as a Teenage Robot. I think this show took forever just to have a series finale. Like, it had a pretty big hiatus between seasons. It was either that or Chalk Zone. Titular character Jenny XJ9, just want to be called Jenny for God's sake, was, a robot built to act and behave like a teenager. Except for that one episode where she was designed a few years ago and people mistook her for a freaking kindergartner. Those explained with blueprints saying she's designed as a teenager, get her age right. It does raise a question. Oh, okay, weird fan art right there. There's no way Nickelodeon drew that. Will she be a teenager forever? Robots don't grow, age naturally. Yeah, she could be stuck at like high school forever, because I don't think there's any kind of upgrades you could do to turn her into an adult. Like she'll lose her friends because they'll become adults and everything. She'll be stuck as a teenager forever. Or at least until she rusts. Danny Phantom, oh, classic. So about a boy who more or less turned into a ghost to fight injustice. His titular character, Danny Fenton, kind of suffers from the same problem as Clark Kent. Exactly the same in the superhero form as he does all the time. Well, yeah, but then again, you also got to remember just about every character that you saw from, like, at least between Fairly Odd Parents and freaking Danny Phantom, a lot of the characters had the same exact main hairstyle. Like, this is pretty similar to what you saw with Timmy Turner and freaking Vicky. Just like everybody had the same, at least, main design. Even if it turned plain white. No one ever seems to notice, not even his parents. But you gotta remember, his parents are dumb. They had the whole thing where their radar was going off saying, oh, there's a ghost here, and they follow and it's going right up to Danny the whole time, and they don't get it. Is your power being dead? Oh, once again? Is Danny, like, dead? His power is turning into a ghost, but how does that work? Switch between life and death at will? Is he dead? Did it give us any detail? Yeah, I don't think we want to dive another rabbit hole. Bosco the Bear. Oh, this is going to be a tough one, because I swear I still have never seen Avatar The Last Airbender. My ex is going to kill me upon hearing that. Even the people who don't care much about Nickelodeon probably still watched Avatar The Last Airbender, Cult Classic, and all that. Jesus, that's one big bear. Well, bear in the fiction world, apparently, never addressed. Why is he the only non-hybrid animal? Bosco be legendary as Avatar, all things considered? I don't want to even dive into that, because I don't know how Bosco is. Drew Jackson VP, another show I never watched. Sad live-action shows. No. Alright, what's the theory here? The world kind of sucks, and idea of thrusting a 14-year-old into it come pretty bonkers in 2021. Working a full-time job from 14 or so does seem incredibly draining. So maybe Nickelodeon realized the whole premise was kind of crap. Can't say for sure. Well, it's true. I mean, like, what kind of 14-year-old would want to be into the freaking fashion world or whatever freaking world they were doing? It's pointless. See, the real price. The show is Zoe 101 is about a girl who attended a public school. Sweet, boring school. Is this what on earth is a tuition there? On average, the average tuition for U.S. boarding school is $56,875. Good lord. Yeah, how can their parents even afford that? I mean, I think, didn't Logan's character have, like, a rich family to cover his expenses? Like, didn't they cover that in an episode? Like, he had a credit card and couldn't live without it? Like, I remember watching this show back then, because, I mean, there was nothing else to watch. Like, the original premise, it was just an all-boys school, and then all of a sudden, girls' school, too. And this just wasn't like, oh, we go to school and leave. It's almost like a college, because they also had dorms to live in. Just like, how do all these families afford this crap? Where is the money coming from? Oh, this is a good question. In iCarly, Carly and Spencer Shay live in an extremely sweet downtown apartment. Really nice question is, how in the world do they afford to stay there? Dad is in the Air Force and their mother's never referenced. Yeah, they never solved the mystery on there. Where's all the money coming from? Admittedly, you can make a pretty good amount of money in the Air Force, depending on what you do, but enough for the sweet apartment on top of all their expenses when their dad's presumably living somewhere elsewhere at the same time. Yeah, plus, you look at freaking Spencer, he never really had much success in terms of earning great income. I mean, there's some times where he had luck. I mean, like, he had that weird... I think he had, like, a dog sculpture in one episode where, like, he was making it for some guy's wife. He got paid a good amount of money there. It's just like, you never knew how much of a steady income this guy had. Just like, how are they able to afford it? I mean, hell, how did freaking Mrs. Benson afford her apartment? She was all alone with Freddy. How old is Sponge? Oh, I think, didn't they answer this at one point, showing one of his IDs? Because, I mean, he doesn't have a boating license for real, because he can't drive, no matter how many times he fails the test. Maybe be the most recognizable character. How old is he anyway? He owns a home, pays a mortgage. How do you know he pays a mortgage? They established in one episode, Squid on Strike, that Mr. Krabs barely pays him at all. Like, there was even one episode, I think, it was that episode where SpongeBob had to take a vacation. I think Mr. Krabs revealed he saved a nickel and making SpongeBob take time off. SpongeBob's like, wow, that's more than I make in a year. So it's like, how is he able to afford anything? Groceries, a mortgage, take care of Gary or anything? Like, he's completely, like, absent-minded at this point, to the point where he doesn't freaking see his boss for who he truly is, a money-hungry, stingy piece of trash. It's like, how is he, like, I can understand somebody loving their job, but you're barely making any money. How are you paying your bills, SpongeBob? I mean, at this point, I relate more to Squidward rather than SpongeBob, and I think all of us do at this point. Only the most. Avatar, I'm not going to touch the Avatar ones. If it's a show I don't know, I'm not going to cover it, because, like, there are only certain shows I know. How did you get that here? Oh, I mean the ostrich. I mean, with a smoothie. Yeah, how did Loomer, or whatever that character's name is, that guy that watches the door, how did he let you have an ostrich up there? I mean, the old saying goes on television, never work with children or animals. I think, didn't they have... I think there was that game show Card Sharks, they had a whole incident where they had an ostrich. It's like, oh, the ostrich on stage, and next thing you know, they show a blooper where the ostrich is just looming around on its own, kind of getting in the way of everything on the set. Because, like, you can't really control children or ostriches in order to behave properly. Look at babies, for God's sake. Let's see, Big Time Rush. Never saw the show either, and I don't care to. I get tired of the show being shoved down my throat due to ads. Just like modern day with freaking having Big Bang Theory shoved down your throat while watching TBS. How to Rock. No clue what this show is all about. Drake and Josh. Okay, here's a good one. Megan was a devilish member of the Drake and Josh cast, and she often got to nefarious things that are a hassle for the titular characters. Still, some of her schemes seem a little more unfeasible than others. The time she got the Peruvian puff pepper. Yeah, which can lead to kidney failure and or chapped lips. I mean, that is one huge-ass pepper. It looks like a freaking popsicle that freaking just got tie-dyed. Yeah, and there's the thing there. Those things are illegal, by the way. You just don't know how a kid like Megan could have the money or connections to get a hold of something like that. It's just like, how does she even make her income? You had that whole episode where she had that gigantic electronic board behind one of her walls so where she can monitor everything in the house. How'd she get that set up? Like, Jesus. Okay, Fairly Oddparents time. When Timmy Turner gets his own fairy godparents who grant him any wish. Why does he get fairy godparents? Explanation in the show is very simple. He's a miserable child, and that's enough. Yeah, because he needs help. And plus, you also look at hairstyle. Cosmo's hairstyle is the same as Timmy. You got similar hairstyles, almost like a cop-out. Seems to be the odd criteria to us. Timmy has some bad parts in his life. Surely the kids are far more miserable than him elsewhere in the world. Miserable kids get fairy godparents. Show is super happy and content in their life. That's hard to say. I mean, you look at Timmy, like, he was neglected by his parents for the most part. Like, and they're completely blind to how Vicky treats him as a babysitter. And it's like, you got Francis the bully. It's like, he's got some good elements in his life. Like, you've got good friends like Chester, AJ, Elmer, and Sanjay. But it's like when you're getting constantly mistreated by a freaking babysitter and your parents are barely around and they are completely oblivious to what's going on to you in terms of your treatment, of course he's going to be miserable. He needs help. Cousin Skeeter, oh my god, I haven't seen this show in years. The show's about, I mean, I even remember the movie where they did one in space and they had to wipe everybody's memory except for Skeeter, and he thought that girl puppy kissed him. Well, he said that she did, and she doesn't have any memory because, memory wipe. Skeeter is a puppet and everyone else in the show is actually human. We accept the fact that no one in the show ever acknowledges Skeeter as a puppet. I mean, people are probably just looking at him like, oh, here's a weird member of our family. Keenan and Kel! Who loves orange soda? Keenan and Kel was a show about two troublemaking teens that were constantly pulling off crazy schemes and frivolous bids to score big time. Yeah, and then you had those scenes right at the end before Kel screams, ah, here it goes! Where Keenan's got some kind of scheme and he needs 3 random things out of nowhere. It's like, I need a fire truck, a prosthetic arm, and a clown. Or I need a crutch, an emu, and some woman named Teddy. I don't know, like random shit like that. Thing is, many of their schemes were borderline illegal or actually illegal, such as identity theft and vandalism. Or even look at the what happened with whoever Keenan's boss was at the grocery store, tricking him into thinking he won the lottery, and he was just writing a bunch of bad checks, and he got arrested too for, I think it was a series finale. Mr. Here's how they managed to stay out of juvenile detention and or any authority. Yeah. I mean, like, Keenan's father didn't even have any freaking leeway or anything. Like, I can't remember what his main job was, but I know they had a temporary part during the series who became a park ranger, but clearly nobody in the show had any kind of, like, link to law enforcement to try to get him out of trouble or anything. Dora! Well, let's see. It was a great way for kids to learn all sort of interesting things around the world and Spanish. But Mr. Here is, why a young child is traveling around the world by herself, no supervision other than a monkey, and how is she not getting hurt? I mean, like, didn't SNL or Mad TV even do, like, a parody of this at one point? I remember seeing it. She's like, can you tell me why my father left me? Like, how is a child able to wander around the world completely safe and all that, and all she has to do is just think and speak Spanish? Just go up to the troll and scream, "Tu madre!" and then throw him off the bridge and just walk across instead of answering his riddle. Oh, those were the caveats. Wild thornberries. Smashing. You remember the wild thornberries? Remembers Eliza? Remember the family capable of talking to animals. For some reason, she had to keep it a secret from her family or else she'll lose her powers. I don't think that was ever fully clarified, like, why that had to be a secret when she gained it when they finally talked about her backstory. It's like she could talk to family, then she could talk to just animals, then family again, she couldn't talk to Darwin, and then had to combine them. But it's like, why did she have to keep that a secret? Apparently, the shaman who gave her the power first set up that rule. Why? It's just like, didn't he not want the secret to be exposed to the point where people try to track him down and take advantage of him, maybe? It's just like, maybe he didn't want people to know who was given the powers and want to get freaking taken advantage of. Who knows? Let's see, Jimmy Neutron again, alright. Cartoons, circumstances. Oh, wait, is it the whole thing where they had an episode where they were up in space and no equipment? Helmets or suits going to space. Yeah, I just remember thinking about this just a few weeks ago. They had that one episode where they were up in space where Jimmy's flying the jet and Carl and Sheen are on the sides, and Sheen's like, why do we have to wear any of this equipment to breathe and everything? And then Jimmy's trying to explain it, but then Carl's covering him up by singing everything to get away from having to give a logical explanation, because there is no scientific or logical explanation why they don't have to have any freaking breathing equipment out in outer space. So it's just a way of covering up. Are you adopted? SpongeBob's last name is SquarePants. It's shaped like a square. Yeah, and his parents are actual sea sponges. Yet they're known as SquarePants, but they don't have square pants, and they're not in the shape of squares. Polygon pants, yeah. SquarePants, SpongeBob SquarePants rolls off the tongue rather than SpongeBob polygonal pants. And plus, kids aren't really going to know what a real polygon is. They know what a square is, but not a polygon. Consistently a little creepy. Clarissa explains it all. I haven't seen this show in forever. Golly. A little on the older side in regards to the show we've been mostly talking about. You remember how Clarissa's friend Sam was consistently climbing into her bedroom via a ladder? Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. With strange, something they glossed over. Does Sam bring his own ladder every time? A ladder, Clarissa's house, parents know what's happening. Yeah, where does that ladder come from? Like, I highly doubt it's right there at the side of the house, because the parents would have noticed it if they had a ladder down right at the side of their house all the time. Jeez. Did that really happen? Oh boy, Rugrats had at least 2 movies. The second one, Rugrats Paris, raised a few weird questions. Well, the sequence when tiny toddlers took control of a giant dinosaur robot battle against a giant snow robot. Yeah, how do the kids even know how to properly control that thing? Laid off their imaginations, but the movie didn't actually do that. On the contrary, it makes it seem like all the crazy stuff never actually happened. Oh. Good, it's like, how did the kids control the robot? Or how is nobody arrested with all the damage that was caused because of the fight? And one question I still have, how did freaking Chucky's mom die? One moment, they had an episode dedicated to Mother's Day. Then it's like, oh, before your mother left us, they showed a little scene of her in the hospital, like in a wheelchair, writing in a diary, and then she just died with no explanation how. But again, how did the kids easily maneuver that freaking robot? I think Chucky had to have, like, a big helmet, almost like a VR helmet, just to watch where he was going. You could see it on the screen in front of you, Chucky. Let's see, Avatar not covering again, like I said. Oh, here we go. The Fairly Odd Parents are certain rules that are never supposed to be broken, known as the rules. Oddly enough, the main character, Timmy Turner, either breaks these rules or gets constantly wanted to break them. The result is supposed to be that he loses his godparents. I thought the only rule involving losing his godparents would be if he actually revealed their existence. And usually whenever, and like the cop-out thing they do for stories, that if Timmy's in trouble, all he has to do is wish for everything to be back to normal, and that's it. That's all it takes. And so, sure, you imply that happened from time to time. It's like he only had a couple times where he lost, like at least 1 or 2 times where he lost his godparents. Like there was one time where he revealed that he stopped time from going forward. He revealed his godparents. I think it was in this episode where you see the screenshot, because then it was like that magic muffin. So like there were barely any times where he actually lost his godparents. Timmy Turner! Like there was that one. Oh yeah, they also did that one where wasn't it that episode where like they had that almost like American Idol parody show where it's like where you had a jerk Timmy Turner who was bossing around Cosmo Wonders to the point where they quit. Then Jorgen is just like, Timmy Turner, you've lost your fatties! But it's like Timmy didn't have his memory wiped and he was able to freaking get Cosmo and Wanda back and all that, so it's like there were barely any times where we lost them. Krabby Patty recipe. Don't bother looking into this mystery, they're never going to reveal it. Steven Hillenburg made it his mission saying he doesn't want this thing known. I don't think anybody had anything written down saying what exactly the secret formula is. And plus, it was made by accident anyway. I mean, the only mysteries I cared about when I was younger, because I didn't care about Krabby Patty's secret formula, I'm not going to try to replicate that burger anyway. All I cared about was what were the first names of Timmy's parents, and what was under Double D's hat in Ed, Edd and Eddy. Those are the only mysteries I gave a damn about. Arnold's parents. Well, I mean, this was revealed in the movie. They fell asleep. They fell to freaking sleeping sickness, and this was covered in the Jungle movie. I mean, it took until the Jungle movie to happen. Like, we didn't find out for, like, a long time until after the series ended to finally figure that out. Because one moment, freaking Arnold found the journal saying that there's a map, and their parents never came back. And then you had to wait till the Jungle movie over a decade later to finally find out the mystery. Mystery eventually answered 10 years later, so yeah, still gonna count it because it took forever to deal with the mystery. The Conclusion of Invader Zim. Oh man, I miss this show. Mystery is a result of Invader Zim being cancelled and shows this was never addressed. What was Invader Zim's endgame? Center Earth's kind of great for the Urkin Empire, however, he also defended Earth from time to time. So it's like, yeah, what was his long-term goal? He's just trying to fit in. It was like that dog Spot trying to fit in with, like, being like a normal kid despite being a dog. So it's like, who knows what the end goal truly was or if there was any resolution because the show ended out of nowhere. Ah, Real Monsters. Oh, boy. much more niche show. Kind of odd, being reminiscent of Tim Burns and Nick. Yeah, I guess they'll bleed on creme. Proper finale. Supposed to have a movie that wrapped it up. However, the movie never happened. No one's sure why. Seen it, all others say it never came out at all. Was the truth? It probably never came out. The only people that probably saw it, and if there was anything that made of it, probably had to be anybody that worked on it. I doubt they showed it at like some kind of film festival. Let's see, the love triangle. Mostly focuses on Jenny. She had plenty of memorable friends and made up for the part of the cast, included Brad, Jenny's best friend, and Sheldon, nerdy classmate who adored her. Needless to say, this led to many fans questioning the romantic endgame of the show. I mean, of course, freaking Sheldon was trying to get her. I don't think Brad ever had any intentions. Her and Brad, or her and Sheldon, or neither. The audience never got it canceled prematurely. I said it took forever for them to end the series. Like, it went on a hiatus between seasons. But, like, that's a weird thing you see with a lot of shows. It's like, they never get a proper conclusion. The detail is not really important for Rugrats. Where exactly do the titular characters live? Yeah, like, it was never... I think... didn't they establish that this show was somewhere within the West-Southwest? Like, maybe California? Like, I know they had one episode of the series early on where they went to the Grand Canyon, and they had another one where they went to Las Vegas. So you would think it would probably be California, because that's easier for driving over, like, state lines and everything, compared to any other state, because, like, I don't think they would live in Utah. And you have so many cartoons that are probably based in California. Like, they showed that with an episode of Fairly Odd Parents. I think it was that exact same episode, like, with the American Idol parody or something, where, like, they were zooming in, like, on a map saying, oh, where are Cosmo and Wanda gonna go back to work at? And they zoomed in on a freaking part of California to show that, hey, there's where Dimsdale is. But they never established what city or state or whatever this show, Rugrats, was even set in. Or hell, even one of their freaking clocks that you saw above the fireplace always said 3 o'clock. So that was never covered. Okay. Oh, Ned's high school to classify as high school survival guide. Yeah, this show never got made after a freaking pilot. It's supposed to be a high school. Yeah, I heard about this. Explanation is why the plans for the sequel were scrapped, which stinks because the show was amazing. I think from what I heard, because I know Blame It On George, aka Blame It On Jorge, said that it was revealed in a podcast that the show was not getting the ratings or the funds because of, like, viewers and everything compared to, like, Drake and Josh or anything. So, like, they didn't have the money to produce a spinoff past the pilot, which never got released after it was shot. So I think it was more due to funding. And plus, you look at Nickelodeon, they were having some financial issues too. I mean, they closed down the main studio eventually before it became I think it was like that Blue Man Group that took over it after it shut down, like 2004. So it's due to finances. Plenty of room for future development. I mean, and plus, like, what other tips did they really have for subjects or whatever to do upon high school? Like, the only things I could think of, maybe suspension or expulsion, and that's it. I mean, maybe graduation, but there weren't many other subjects to cover for specific episodes. Zim's Minnie Mouse come from? Who knows? Final episode, Santa Claus. Just saying, Santa Claus naturally had Gurr help him out. Minnie Mouse. Thing is, we never got an explanation as to where Minnie Mouse comes from. I don't even remember that character. Let's see, Penguins Madagascar. Never watched it. Never even saw the movie either. Now, Planet Sheen, I barely remember. I think I saw the series premiere and that was it. I mean, I know nobody really liked it because, like, when it's all about Sheen, who's known to be an obnoxious character, it's hard to get into the show. Human pal Sheen accidentally teleported to another planet. Teleporting, you mean he stole a rocket and just got blasted off? Right, pretty quickly. Rightfully so. Gets back to Earth, stuck in space the rest of his life. And, like, how is he on another planet that's not known for having any kind of atmosphere to withhold freaking oxygen for keeping human life freaking going? Like, we know Mercury and Venus don't have any freaking way of being able to maintain any kind of living for animals or anything. So it's like, what other planets are really going to be able to inhabit living life or anything like a human? It's Avatar, not going to do that. SpongeBob, okay. Old Man Jenkins. Yeah, this was a thing. Like, Old Man Jenkins, like, so many people just say, it's Old Man Jenkins, this is Old Man Jenkins, or you had that extremely old guy who, like, with a different appearance that was honking along in the car for that Sailor Mouth episode saying, well, it's Old Man Jenkins, and it's so happy. Howdy, Mrs. K. Like, every old guy is known as Old Man Jenkins. Okay, another Danny Phantom. And this one actually got a proper finale. I mean, finally, Danny and Sam finally got together, after so much teasing. Tucker got a concrete look in the future. We don't really see Danny and Sam play the romantic relationship. What comes of it? Yeah, do they get together forever? I know there was that one girl that he had a crush on, but I can't remember her name. But she was like that Latino woman, I think. I can't remember her ethnicity, but like there was one other woman, so it's like you never see who he's with at the end. El Tigre, never watched this. Another SpongeBob. Oh, this might be the last one. It's saying last but not least. How exactly did he get his pineapple house? How did he get under the sea? Well, I mean, it was established during one of the early episodes when his house got torn down. He had to manage to move in with his parents. It was a bean. Like, and it just came, like, planted the bean. He cried. It came beanstalk, and one pineapple just sprouted out of it. Then, there it goes. I mean, that was, like, the only explanation they gave. It came out of a bean. Friggin' vine just popped it out. But anyway, folks, that is everything. 40-plus questions raised by Nickelodeon shows that there is no real answer to. Some easier than others. I wonder if they have one for Cartoon Network. But I mean, again, like, the one they didn't cover in here was, what are the first names of Timmy Turner's parents? Like, the only name additions that they ever revealed in the show was what Timmy's middle name was, which was Tiberius. Because his mother called him that. Timothy Tiberius Turner! But it's like they never gave the first names for Timmy's parents or even AJ's last name. Or Elmer or Sanjay. They gave Chester's last name, say McBadbat. Because that was also for the last name of his dad, and they had it on a freaking mailbox. But I mean, I'm just going to leave it there. Let me know y'all down in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the episode, remember this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that. And I'll catch you all later. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out. And good day, everybody.